So when you first read the script, what was it about that made you join the project?
Fantasy. I mean, everything about like anything with dragons. It just reminded me of my childhood, like watching all these movies from the past, like Willow and Dragon Slayer and Dragon Heart. And anyway, that's what kind of attracted me to the project. And I'm like, I have to be a part of it somehow. So I emailed the director, and then this email led to like a phone call, and a phone call led to a lunch, and then so on and so forth. Then I got hired after I sent him some samples of the work. He's like, we should get together and do this for real. So that's how it started.
Wow, so you cold call it.
Yeah.
No way. But speaking of, you're curious you say that because I always tell my students, how important is this? So you do have to find the emotional connection whenever you look at a script. And it could be abstract sometimes?
Yes. Yeah. There has to be something that attracts your attention from. But I mean, for what I do, that's composing for film, I have to also look at the final cut of the picture. So the script gets you excited, and then when you see the film, you're like, oh, great. So music can go here, there. It shouldn't be there. Like, and then we talk about those elements with the director. But yeah, I mean, the script has to excite you first, and then when you watch the final format, it's like, okay, great. Now we can like get into the weeds and do some work.
Okay, so with a little background question, because a lot of students watch the show. When did you know you wanted to do this for? Well, when did you realize I can make money, maybe, in doing something I love?
That's a good question. So I wanted to compose for film when I watched Lord of the Rings in college. That was the moment where I'm like, it finally. I mean, because I've been watching films since I was a kid, and renting VHSs and like going to the movie store and getting them. But that moment when I watched Lord of the Rings, I'm like, something with the picture and the music like got me into it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I just I connected with a few people I knew in my network, and I started with a few commercials. And at the time, I was teaching music, and I scored these 10 jingles at the time, which I made like what I would make as a teacher in a month. I made it in a weekend. So I was like, oh, this is actually can work. So I pursued that going forward, and then made the move to LA and stuff like that, because I was in Miami at the time. Yeah, and then made the trek here, and has been fantastic.
So then, that's an interesting path. What would you recommend for students to watch? Like, if you want to say you want to go back and learn how to compose for a film, were there a couple of films you'd recommend? You really need to see this.
Oh yes. So you have to start with like the golden age of movies. So go back, study like Alfred Hitchcock and also Bernard Herrmann. Psycho. That's like anything with like Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, Psycho, Vertigo. There's also Sunset Boulevard, but that's not him. That's somebody else. And then obviously anything with Steven Spielberg, and then David Fincher I like as well. So even Peter Jackson as well. So I have to say.
Seems like you're hitting a lot of artists that really have mastered music as a character in a movie.
Yes. Yeah. It's you. I mean, because you want to have a great example to work with, right? So I would say it's like studying like the masters, like Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, stuff like that. So that's how I would approach it. You'll learn a lot just like studying those films and listening to the music as well.